What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You are now tuned in to episode 30 of the In-Game Grind podcast, the greatest podcast on this clairvoyant plane of existence and the next. I am your host, Jason, and as always, I am joined by my friend, my homie, resident Spider-Man suit collector, Chris. Tell the people what's going on.
Uh, what's going on? Don't be outing me like that. My suits stay in the closet.
Bruh,
I am trying to find a working web suiter though. Apparently they exist.
Remember in like 2002 when they first after the first Spider-Man movie came out with Tobey Maguire and they were selling the web shooters where like it was shoot I don't know what the fuck
it was using like a silly string.
Yeah, it was like a silly string shooter and like
I had one.
I think every fucking kid ever had one of them shits because I remember I used to go to after school care at my old elementary school and a kid brought like two he was like dual wielding fucking web shit. He was Spider-Man. Like you couldn't tell him shit. He was Spider-Man. He got that shit shut down. Like he hit a girl in the eye. She was allergic to one of the chemicals that was in the web shoot. It was a whole fucking thing. That kid, he might still be up for bail. I don't know what happened to that guy. Shout out to, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna dox him like that. But because I think he listens to this podcast low key. So if you do, shout out to you for damn near removing a girl's eye with web string. Shout out to 2002. But anyways,
oh no.
Welcome to episode 30, Dirty 30 of the In-Game Grind podcast. Today, normally would be a happy occasion because I'm going to be honest with you, man. There's only two things I look forward to in the week, and that is like seeing my girl and recording this podcast. Like, it really is. I really do enjoy getting to sit down and just talk about gaming because even with like lockdown and quarantine, it feels like even in Discord, like we just kind of talk about stuff and then move on to something else. We don't get to talk about stuff in depth anymore. So it's refreshing to get to come here every week.
Yeah, no, I agree. To do this, what this is episode 30.
Yeah,
like we were joking around when we hit 25. We hit our Michael Jordan episode, but now we literally hit 30.
We hit our Steph Curry episode.
Yeah, it's crazy. But no, it's nice to like have all these thoughts that I have just in here when I'm surfing Twitter, able to just be regurgitated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy this. I feel like I'm gonna help make a part of the server that's just do you have rants that you need to talk about video games? Like it's just gonna be me constantly shitting on Kingdom Hearts and Sonic lore.
Oh no.
Like no one's gonna be in the chat. It's just gonna be me just talking to myself.
You want when people like do the thing when they go out in the woods and just scream?
Yeah,
you want one
it's
of those,
gonna be
but
me.
To rant for gaming.
Yeah, and it's gonna be me on a soapbox, but it's gonna be soap from Sonic Adventure 2.
We just need to sit you out in one of those tables. It's like Sonic 06 wasn't that bad. Changed my mind.
No, and I will debate somebody on that. Like I will really I'll pull up receipts. Like I don't let me do that. Don't let me make a YouTube video like that.
I have been extremely anxious to record this episode. I've been very excited because when we talked about what we were potentially going to talk about for this episode, you told me that this was potentially going to be the first time that we vehemently log off of this call not agreeing with what we talked about, and I look forward to the discourse. But I do feel like once you hear some of this new information that's come to light, you might flip your attitude. But just to give the people the heads up of what we're talking about, unless you've been absolutely living under a rock in the gaming community right now, Super Smash Bros. Melee is basically Nintendo is trying to assassinate any and all traces of the competitive scene for Smash Bros. Melee. To give you guys, there's so much information. I have show notes, breaking the fourth wall. I have paragraphs upon paragraphs of show notes. But just to give you guys the TLDR of the situation. Super Smash Bros. Melee, which came out in what, 2005, 6?
Dude, don't make me look this up.
Because I know
it was.
Because I know 64 came out in like 96 or 97.
2001.
2001. Right, Brawl was like 2000.
Yo, that's crazy. So we're recording this on the 24th, and I remember seeing this on Twitter. We're recording this on the 24th. The original release date of Super Smash Bros. Melee was November 21st, 2001. So it actually just had an anniversary.
Look here, man. To give you guys a TLDR of what's going on, the competitive community for Super Smash Bros. Melee is being targeted by Nintendo basically because Nintendo gave... Okay, well, let me start from the beginning. Big House, which is a tournament organizing group that puts together tournaments, we're planning on having a Super Smash Bros. Melee online tournament. Now, Super Smash Bros. Melee is a GameCube game from 2001, so obviously there's no online features. So somebody, I say somebody because I don't actually know the human that made it, but somebody created a emulator with online functionality known as Slippy that is essentially a modded version of Super Smash Bros. Melee with rollback netcode that allows people to play online, and that's how people have been playing Melee, especially in quarantine, because as you guys know, with everything that's going on in the world, you can't necessarily have in-person tournaments right now. It's just not safe. And Nintendo gave a cease and desist to the Big House to basically say you are not allowed to run this tournament. And everyone is just like,
but why?
Why? You literally shut down the only way people had to play this game in the worst pandemic that we have seen in 100 years. At first, it looked like just Nintendo being dumb Nintendo, but like when you think about it in the scope of things, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, Chris, I'm gonna let you go first because when we first brought this up, you kind of had the same response as I thought I was going to have until I got a little bit more of the information. So I'm gonna let you go first, and I just want to preface this for anybody that's watching this. Please watch the whole thing. Go ahead, Chris.
I don't care about Melee. I can hear the boos, I can hear the crucifix, like nail that motherfucker up. But I hate Melee. I do. The only reason I like Melee is because Ganondorf was introduced, and that's it. So I've had friends, I've been in groups where they have never let Melee go. Like, I've been in friend groups where when Brawl came out, they're like, well, why aren't you using a GameCube controller? And I was like, I'm fine with using a Wiimote. Smash Bros. Ultimate comes out, why aren't you using a game controller? I like my Pro controller. I don't like Melee. So every time someone cancels Melee, I'm just going, well, all right. Cool, fuck them. But yeah, so when I heard about Nintendo shutting down this Melee scene, I was just like, I thought Melee was dead anyway. Like, Melee wasn't even allowed at EVO anymore. So I was like, all right, that's cool. So now that we don't have Melee as like a locals tournament, I think it's dumb, but I'm cool with it not being around. I hate Melee. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Is that it?
Please put your right forks down, because I know I'm gonna get like hate mail.
So I have some so I'll echo what you said. I don't hate Melee, but I don't necessarily have any real, I don't really have any love for Melee either. I do see it as kind of like an older Smash Brothers game, and to be completely transparent, I didn't really get into Smash Brothers until like Smash 4 on the Wii U. That's when I kind of started to get more into Smash, and like the DLC started to interest me a little more, especially when Cloud got introduced. But the issue here, it doesn't really matter how you feel about Smash in general or Smash Melee, because this isn't a issue of Smash Melee. This is a Nintendo issue.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the facts, right? I always with Theorycraft, why is Nintendo like this? Why are they being so arrogant to the fact where you have a 19-year-old IP? A 19-year-old IP that still has a dedicated player base. It still has a passionate, competitive scene, and there's still money in it. There's still money in it for you, and you choose to look the other way. Not only look the other way, but discourage people from getting into it and discourage people from playing it. And I used to be among the people of, it's Melee, it doesn't really matter, just play the new one, right?
Yeah.
And then it hit me, right? I love Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that. It's like Marvel, like Street Fighter versus Marvel superheroes, or X-Men versus Street Fighter, all that was great. Children of the Atom, all that was great. But I fell in love with that series at Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Let me take you for a ride.
But all that being said, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is an amazing game. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is an amazing game. But when those games came out, there was no line drawn in the sand that basically said, okay, you have 2 and you have 3. You need to decide which one you're going to play. A new game coming out did not completely segment the player base into 2 different communities. Because in Smash, the Ultimate community is not the Melee community. It is not interchangeable. For a lot of people in a lot of different fighting games, it's interchangeable. And even if it's not, like, somebody not really liking a certain title does not mean they'll completely just demean it and just completely rebuke it. There are people who played Street Fighter Third Strike, went to 4, enjoyed 4, and didn't like 5. That doesn't mean they're only gonna play Third Strike. It doesn't mean they're only gonna play 4, and it doesn't mean that they're gonna, like, deter people from playing 5. Smash is the only series I know where every single different game has a different player base with different mindsets and needs. All that being said, from Nintendo's standpoint, right?
Yeah.
If you have 2 great games from the same franchise, you should be able to play, watch, and enjoy both of those games for what they are and be able to differentiate them, yet not let those differences keep you from enjoying either of the games separately.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, that being said, the Melee community deserves better. I don't care how annoying or off-putting the Melee community is. Because let's be honest, they can be snobs sometimes.
They are.
Sometimes they can be snobs. But what Nintendo's doing to Melee right now is absolutely disgusting. Especially in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, they really are just trying to take it out to the back and shoot it. But they keep missing.
Like, okay, so we all had some theories on why Nintendo had such an issue with Slippy.
The number one that I would think of is Nintendo hates it when you emulate their shit.
Here's the thing, though. Nintendo can feel however they want to feel. Emulation, under law, in America at least, emulation is legal if you own an original copy of the game. Here's an example. I emulate Pokemon Emerald on my phone. Nintendo can't do anything to me because I own Pokemon Emerald. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So legally, I'm exempt. They can't do anything to me.
It's essentially like you plugged Emerald into a USB, took all of its files, and put it on your phone.
Exactly. Yeah. However, and for those of you that are only audio, I just held up a copy of, Emerald, but whatever. It's just to prove a point. I have more props for the future because I'm going to make a point. So emulation was not the issue. I think what they had an issue was it being a modded version of the game that allowed for online capability.
Yeah, and Melee was not meant for online.
Nintendo,
it was not.
No, here's the thing: it wasn't made for online, but the mod was. The mod had rollback netcode. It's 2020. We are coming off the year where Evo was canceled because we went from, okay, there's gonna be Evo. Okay, the COVID hit. Now we can't have Evo. Hold on, we can have Evo, but let's have it online. Never mind. We can't do Evo online because half of these games have terrible netcode because it's something that these game developers have been ignoring forever, and we've been able to cover it up because for decades, the optimal way to play a fighting game has been peer-to-peer in the same room.
Yep.
And now when it mattered most, and your netcode was the only thing that would make your game playable, so many games had to back out of Evo because you can't play our game online. That's why, no matter what you think of the games, we have to champion games like Mortal Kombat, Them's Fighting Herds, and all these other Tekken, all these other games that prioritize net play.
Man, like rollback netcode is like the avatar of it's like the avatar of fighting games.
But I say that to say this, right? A lot of people say, okay, it doesn't have netcode. You can still just play Ultimate. Ultimate's on the Switch. Ultimate has online. Look, man, I enjoy Smash Ultimate. I really do. My favorite Smash. I'm gonna put it out there. But I'm gonna tell you this. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a relatively new Dragon Ball game. If I want to play it on PC, I'll just play it online with my friends. If I want to play it on console, I can play it online with my friends. However, if I want to play Dragon Ball Z Sagas for the GameCube, that's not on Steam. I can't play this on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. The only way I could have to play this is peer-to-peer. And if we can't play together, because this is up to 4 players, 2 players, I was thinking about a different Dragon Ball game. I was thinking about Xenoverse, but it's only up to 2 players. So if I wanted to play with Chris can't come over here and play. I mean, you could, but you really shouldn't in the current climate, especially with us being in Texas. But I say it like that.
I mean, because we in Texas.
but anyways, if you and me wanted to play this game together, we would need to download a emulator for the GameCube that would allow us to use online play and would have servers to be able to do it, because that's the only way you could do it. And I use this as an example because I don't have a copy of Melee, but for Melee, it is the exact same thing. It's a GameCube game that suffers from the exact same issue. But here's another thing. Rollback netcode and the need for it, and Melee on Slippi having it, highlighted an issue that we've had with Nintendo for a while, and I feel like the success of Slippi during the quarantine really did highlight one of the biggest weaknesses with Smash Ultimate and Nintendo in general. And we've talked about it a million times. Their weak online infrastructure.
Yeah.
Xbox, PlayStation, PC, all of these platforms have decent online functionality. The Switch does not. It really should be baffling that you can buy a console in 2020 that does not have an integrated Ethernet port in it.
Yeah.
Like it
doesn't make sense.
Every single Smash update, Sakurai tells people, buy an adapter. Buy an Ethernet adapter to play this game. So you realize that the quality of the gameplay consists upon the quality of the netcode, and you realize that the netcode improves dramatically when you're connected through Ethernet port and you're hardwired, and your system is hardwired, rather playing over Wi-Fi. Yet the Switch has no Wi-Fi port.
Ethernet port.
It is baffling to me, especially when you look at games like Tekken. They constantly improve their rollback, and they also now have it
They have it to where you can decline people that are on Wi-Fi.
Well, they have it to show that someone is either hardwired or on Wi-Fi, and people who are playing the game on Wi-Fi are saying it's impossible to find a match. It's not impossible to find a match. It's just possible for you to find an Ethernet cable to get hardwired. Because it doesn't. If you're on PC, you should have been hardwired anyway. If you're on a console, you can get hardwired. It's not like they're trying to lock you out of playing the game. They're trying to tell you that the integrity of the game consists upon the consistency of the gameplay online. And for you to have a good experience there,
Hardwire.
But what I will say is,
the Wii U had an Ethernet port.
Did it?
It did.
You know, I have a Wii right here, and I can't pull it out because there's stuff on top of it. But did the Wii have an Ethernet port?
I know the Wii U had an Ethernet port because it was orange.
I believe the Wii had one and it was yellow. I believe. I could be a shot in the dark, but I feel like I remember that. But I say all that to say this. We always talk about how Nintendo has an embarrassment of riches when it comes to first party IPs. Like literally go down the line. Mario, Yoshi, Smash, Kirby, Metroid, Star Fox, Mother, Animal Crossing. Like you can go forever. You really can. And the fact that you have a game that for 19 years people have been passionate about that you refuse to support, when some development companies tell us that we're going to be playing their game for 10 years and we get bored after 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Destiny, Anthem.
We're looking at you, buddy.
Godfall. All you looter slasher motherfucker. Like 19 years, bro. And you refuse to actually support it. It's only Nintendo. Like I asked you this when we had this conversation the first time, but can you name a single Sony first party title that was successful that they don't still try to appeal to this day? Or Microsoft? Can't say God of War. That's 19 years old. Still support that. Or no, it's 15 years old. Halo.
Gravity Rush got a sequel for the PS4, but since then they've gotten nothing, and it's very sad because it was a PS Vita exclusive. Then it got ported to the PS4, and it made so much money because it was such a good game.
No, I mean from like the early 2000s.
Oh,
like that's what I'm saying. Like God of War came out 15 years ago. Sony is still supporting it. Halo came out 19 years ago. Microsoft is still supporting it.
I can't tell, but that's just a personal thing. The Wii did not have an Ethernet port, but it did have Ethernet adapters. The Wii U, what? I could have sworn it had an Ethernet port.
It wouldn't surprise me if it didn't.
I could have sworn it did, but I guess they wouldn't have come out with the like Nintendo brand Ethernet ports otherwise. Because I remember the Wii U had like 2 USB ports on the back. Excuse me, on the back. Man, I could have sworn. Maybe, you know what? I might be thinking of the sensor bar.
Yeah.
The sensor bar port was orange.
So,
but
yeah. I want to tell you about the. Today is November 24th.
Yep.
On this day, a person on the Twitter account Anonymous Smasher, who made that name for a very obvious reason once we get into it, came out with some information about why Nintendo is trying to stifle any sense of competitive Smash. And the reason I wanted you to be blind on this when you reacted to it. It's not just Melee. This is 64 Melee, Brawl 4, and Ultimate. And basically, he released a twitlonger on Twitter. He added every single person that in any way, shape, or form has any relevance or any shade of a platform in Smash. And it was a very long twitlonger, and I cannot read it all because it will take up this entire episode and we won't have time to put our thoughts behind it. But I did take time out to read the whole thing. and basically pick out the juicy bits, and we're going to react to them. So first of all, the reason he released a twit longer was to basically talk about how Nintendo had tried to derail the Smash community from growing a competitive scene beyond the grassroots level. And the first big thing he revealed was Nintendo refused to work with major esports organizations who wanted to bring Smash to a bigger stage, such as ESL, which is the esports league, HTC, which is a technology company, they make phones and such, and E-League, who is one of the biggest ones, because if you're not familiar with E-League, they are responsible for bringing things like CS:GO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Street Fighter to ESPN. So in the last couple of years, when you've been able to tune into ESPN and you've seen Apex Legends tournaments, you've seen League of Legends tournaments or Heroes of the Storm tournaments and things of that such, that's their doing.
Damn,
that's their
didn't know
doing.
that.
Exactly. That's their doing to try and bring these games to a bigger platform to reach a bigger audience. So that's number one. Nintendo just straight up said we don't want to. MLG, who if you don't know is Major League Gaming, another big esports organization, who is another esports organization, ran an event in 2015 with Melee and Smash 4, but did not continue because Nintendo wanted a $50,000 license fee per event, over double the amount of games like Street Fighter 4. So if you do the math, you have...
That's a lot of money.
So let's just say, if you had a Smash 4 tournament, a Smash 4 doubles tournament, a Melee tournament, and a Melee doubles tournament, you would have needed to pay Nintendo $200,000 for each, $200,000 to run all those 4 events. And as you know, in Smash, there's other things too. There's combo contests and things of that sort. You can't do that because that's 50 racks to Nintendo every time you want. And it does not stop there. MLG also noted that Nintendo denied them the rights to stream Brawl in 2010 and blocked the US from viewing portions of the Smash events in 2016. Blocked people in the US from seeing Smash events. In 2013, Melee was pretty much all but dead until the Smash documentary came out, highlighting how big and impactful the Melee community was, and that was 2013, also the year that Melee made its triumphant return back to Evo, which basically was the shot in the arm that well, not the shot in the arm, it was basically the wake me up that the Melee community needed to basically regain their relevance. And they've kind of been riding that wave ever since. And I say wave, but it's been kind of, up and down since then.
It's been a bit choppy because the Smash community is not without its drama.
No, that's true. But look, there's also, we're getting through all of Nintendo's allegations. We'll get to that in a second. But here's the biggest one. Red Bull, the company Red Bull, the energy drink, Twitch, which we all know Twitch, and Nintendo were in talks to start a legit major circuit for Melee and Smash 4. Twitch was willing to front the complete cost of the event, which would have covered millions of dollars per year. Not only were they willing to front the cost, they would have allowed Nintendo to own the League brand despite having no financial contribution.
That's crazy.
You know what Nintendo did?
Nah.
Nintendo pulled out of it because Smash Ultimate was upon release, and they felt like with Smash Ultimate coming out, there would be no need for the League anymore. Why would you just not integrate Ultimate into that league?
You could have just made it 3 different games.
Imagine, there's no reason to play Smash 4 anymore. But Melee, you could have put Brawl in 64. Dog, imagine a $1 billion company having another $1 billion company 100% fund something you want to do and give you all the credit for it, and you say no. The only possible thing you could do is profit from little to no effort whatsoever, and you turn it down?
Nah, I'm good, fam.
That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. No sense. One of the last thing. I'm gonna let you speak to this a little bit because I'm a little. I know about it, but I don't know a ton about it. Can you
Okay.
explain to me and just the viewers what is Project M?
Oh, oh man, Project M. This is the only. Okay, I said I hated Melee. I will asterisk that with Project M. Project M was the love child of Melee fans and the want to make Brawl better. Project M was, forget the guy's name, but it was basically him and like a very, very small team, or it was just him. I'm not sure. But it was essentially a Brawl mod that you could load up on an SD card, put it in the Wii, load Brawl, load the game, and it would rewrite the game essentially and make it better.
Right.
But it made it made the Brawl game similar to Melee. So everything was a bit cleaner. Combos were a bit easier to do. There was no slipping and tripping, which was a mechanic only Brawl had, and they took it out because they realized how dumb it was. There was like a 0.01% chance that you could try and quick turn in an opposite direction and you would slip and fall, and it would cause combos to be dropped, punishments. Like it was just bad. No one liked it. But one of the other things was that it added characters to the game that were fan favorites or other people requested essentially, and you would get cool skins for like characters that were from their entire legacies, and it wouldn't just be palette swaps. They would be legit time put in. Like there was a Knuckles character added, Gino was added at one point, I think. Peach had multiple different costumes that weren't just palette swaps. But it was a love project. It was a passion project, I should say. There was nothing but uproar from the community to keep this thing going because it brought life into Brawl, which a lot of people did not like, especially coming off the rails of Melee.
Now let me ask you this: what happened to Project M?
Oof. They got hit with the biggest cease and desist.
Not true.
Really?
Not true. I asked, do you remember the tournament Apex in 2014? That was supposed to be the biggest Project M tournament ever, where they had like the biggest pool of players for Project M.
Yeah.
They scrapped Project M from that tournament because they believed that Nintendo hit them with a cease and desist. According to this person who has already gone on the rails and said they are only going off of what they've been told from officials at these companies, and some of the bigger Smash players like Hungrybox have already confirmed, like he's sponsored by Red Bull, he has confirmed some of these things that's going on with Red Bull and Smash. He's confirmed some of these things. So these are some pretty credible sources he has, and a lot of credible sources are signing off on these. What happened at Apex 2014, Nintendo told tournament organizers at Apex 2014, the reason that we don't support Smash is because you support stuff like Project M. They did not hit them with a cease and desist. The tournament organizers, under their own decision, pulled Project M from that tournament and stopped supporting it because they thought that this was going to be a legitimate chance to have Nintendo extend an olive branch to the community. And they were like, if they just don't like us playing modded games, we won't play modded games. We'll just stop and Nintendo will work with us, right? They stopped it.
And they never did.
No, they stopped it.
No, but Nintendo never worked with them.
Never did. Never did. They shut down that whole tournament, anything Project M related at that tournament, hoping that this would be a show of good faith to Nintendo, that we are willing to work with you and play by your rules and within your parameters if it means that we get to have an actual working relationship. And Nintendo said, nah.
Man, and
that's what happened to Project M. And I would like to, I took a screenshot and I'm gonna read a little bit of it. The ending part of this guy. I think after the podcast, you actually go and read this whole thing. It's pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of people, it makes you wonder, right? If Nintendo is so against competitive Smash and a high level esports, you could just completely shut it down and be done with it. Why are you toying with them? you could, and this is a quote from Anonymous Smasher in his Twitlonger. And I'll have you respond to this. Nintendo knows there is a benefit in keeping the scene hopeful while never shutting us down completely. Think about it. If Nintendo really had such a problem with Smash Esports, they could shut it down. Likewise, if Nintendo really wanted us to succeed, they could just apply their incredible resources to make it happen. I have some thoughts on why we get neither outcome and why Nintendo remains conveniently uncommitted to either scenario. Shutting us down completely would be very bad publicity. At this point, we as a community have enough of a voice to influence the actions of major corporations, including Nintendo. It's a marvel of the internet. They famously reversed their reprehensible decision to shut down Melee's stream at EVO 2013 after we raised close to $100,000 to fight breast cancer. We caused a ruckus on the internet, and 5 hours later, we were back on stream at EVO. The effects of that moment ring out today. We were way bigger now, and we know how loud our voices are. Perhaps that is exactly how they only dip their toes and pretend to help the scene. Maybe they don't want to help us grow and get louder. Maybe they don't want to spread money into the esports thing. Maybe they think competitive Smash differs from their vision for the game. Fine. However, with all that may be true, they simultaneously do want our voices, give them marketing. A whole lot of free marketing. If this makes sense, then I think about it. It makes sense when I think about it. They're always feigning support, never really providing it, never really stopping us either. And before we recorded, I wanted to see how many of the professional Smash players I could get to react to this, or how many of their reactions I could watch. And the only one I could really finish was Hungrybox. Hungrybox had the most accurate analogy for this. He said, it's like pushing a shopping cart. When you're done and you're in the parking lot, you could leave it in the street and just go about your business. There's no legal ramifications for it. However, if you push it and put it in the return cart to make the job easier for the employees, you don't get credited for that either. That's how Nintendo sees the Smash community. It won't really benefit them. They don't see any benefit from pushing it, but it also doesn't really hurt them to leave it alone. So they kind of just leave it floating in limbo. Because like they said, anything else Nintendo has had a problem with, they have 100% shut it down.
Yeah.
When they didn't like people emulating Mario games, they shut that shit down.
And then dropped a 3D collection.
yeah. And that's the thing. They hit a couple who wasn't even making a dime on this with what was it, $10 million? It was some arbitrarily large amount of money for a lawsuit to basically say you're either gonna pay us this much money or you're gonna stop emulating our games, and then we get 3D All-Stars collection. But with Smash, if you have such a problem with Project M and you have such a problem with Slippy, you could easily do the same thing. But you don't want to because, like my man said in his tweet, you realize that this helps you.
Bad publicity.
Exactly. If you shut it down, it's bad publicity. But if you don't, you're still going to get popularity off of it. People are still going to get invested in the game, and you don't have to look like a dick.
That's really weird. That's weird.
Really fucking weird.
Look, like I said, I don't really have a thing for the Melee community, but it doesn't hurt me when they're still alive and well. People are gonna play what they want to play, and I want everyone to enjoy the game that they're playing. But that is weird.
I do want to point out another thing that my man put in the Twitter. He was saying that at tournaments, whenever you stream a tournament or you have a tournament based around a certain game, you have to pay the developer of that game. Nintendo would go to, when these tournaments would reach out and say, can we have a Smash tournament? Nintendo would require them to pay them. However, when they would go to exposés where, they set up the booths to people to play new games, they didn't charge people for Splatoon. They didn't charge people for ARMS. They didn't charge people for Pokken. And Pokken, Splatoon, and ARMS have gotten more support as trying to push it as an esports product than Smash ever has. Yet Smash is at EVO and Combo Breaker and all these Wednesday night fights and all these other major tournaments. And Hungrybox also brought up, if you watch the reveal trailer for the Switch, how does it end? At an esports stadium with 2 teams playing Splatoon.
That's true.
With all of them docking their Switches and getting ready to play a game of Splatoon.
Yeah.
So it's very obvious that Nintendo is more than willing to support the competitive scenes of the games that can't seem to stand on their own 2 feet when it comes to competitive play. But with a game like Smash Brothers, they don't want that. And I think that's the biggest if I have with this. Like, why are you so scared of Smash being
thriving?
Playing? Yeah, why are you scared for the competitive Smash scene to thrive? Like, and let's look, you know what? I already know what's the elephant in the room, so let's just talk about it. The exodus of all the pedophiles in the Smash community. When that whole shit popped off, did they lose a lot of people? Yes. Let's keep it a stack. A lot of people's argument were, but they weren't in Melee, they were in Smash Ultimate. We have already deduced they don't care what Smash it is. Nintendo does not jive with the idea of competitive Smash Brothers. They just don't. They don't care what version, what game, what iteration. They do not care. They don't want it. They don't want it. If it's Splatoon, fine. If it's Pokken, fine. If it's ARMS, go crazy. Smash, no. And to be fair, your company, you made it, your intellectual property, your legal rights. You have every right to do all the shit you're doing. But it's kind of a Nirvana effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, Nirvana made their music hating how popular music sounded. And became popular music, and then became less fond of their sound. So maybe this is a situation where Nintendo, they made their game to be a fun, interactive family game. But it just so happens to be pretty cool when it's played in a competitive space as well. But they don't want it played that way. Like, you can't.
It's really hard for them to do that when you got Sakurai going, I just put Terry Bogard in the game. Look at all these combos you can do. He's literally a fighting game character. Look at Ryu. Look at Ken. They're fighting game characters.
You have a Hayachi me. Like
you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, "Oh, I don't want it to be a competitive game." Then don't give it a competitive don't give it a competitive nature. Don't give it an arcade mode. Don't give it a tournament mode where you can play online in a tournament style with people around the world in the game.
Every time we talk about games like Destiny and Anthem and basically any game that makes a declaration of, oh, you'll be playing this game for 10 years, we always say, nobody makes a game with the intention of it being played for a certain amount of time. Games that are played for decades are played for decades because they're fun. Every time I had to bring an example of that, Smash Melee was my example. Because in 2001, I guarantee you, they were not expecting people to give a damn about this game in 2020.
No. That's almost 20 years of people declaring this the end-all, be-all. No game will amount to this. I'm only going to play this style of game. And
this takes nothing away from Ultimate. Ultimate's a fantastic game with a lot of work put into it. But somebody can enjoy Ultimate and still go back and play Melee the same way we could like fighters and still go back to Dragon Ball Z Sagas. The same way somebody could like Sword and Shield but prefer Emerald. The same way somebody could enjoy Marvel Infinite but still prefer Marvel 2. There's no rule that says there's no expiration date on the game. There's no expiration date on how much fun you have versus in one experience versus another. So it confuses me when Nintendo is basically just throwing away free money, free publicity, and honestly, they're just being vague about it. They're just acting aloof about it. Like, why do you keep pulling all these legal actions and these weird moves? Why don't you just come out and make a statement? I would almost be okay with this if Nintendo just came out and said, look, we did not make Smash to be a competitive fighting game. If you want to have tournaments for it, that's fine, but we're not funding it. We're not promoting it. We'll let you have them, but that's on you. I think that'd be fair.
I can see tournaments now, like, and they go, bet.
And it's like, I was thinking about, like, how do you fix this, right? Like, how do you bridge the gap? How do you compromise? What would make both sides happy?
Well, here's the crazy thing. It's not us. It's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo literally all they have, like, we're ready to extend. We've built the bridge. We'll take care of the networking. We'll take care of the venue. The players are ready. But it's
a want to.
It's a want to
and
from Nintendo.
The funny thing, if Nintendo literally could just change their mind and be like, you know what? We will support Melee. What we're going to do is we'll let you have your tournaments, but in the meantime, what we're going to do is whoever made Slippy, we're going to hire that person and we're going to have them work on a team with us to basically put out a collection that has Smash Brawl, or is going to have Brawl, 64, and Melee. And for Brawl, we're going to implement some of the features that you guys like in Project M and take out some of the ones you didn't like. We're going to put out a Smash Brothers Legendary Collection. It'll have, and we'll do a limited run of physical copies, but for download, you can get it whenever. You can get the game separate or you can get them all together for 60. You can get Melee for 60, 64 or Melee for 20, 64 for 20, and Brawl for 20, or you get them all three for 60. Or you could get the $60 physical that comes with all three of them. All of them will have online capabilities. All of them will have rollback netcode that we got from Slippy working with that team. You'd be a champion. You'd be the kid in the room again. You'd be the favorite. But no,
we're not ready for that.
What did we talked about this? Maximilian talked about this. I don't know if you were there when we watched that video. Mope showed me a video of Maximilian basically explaining why a lot of the Japanese game development companies do a lot of the kooky shit that they do. You've been to Japan. You know that there's a lot of weird customs in Japan that are predicated on etiquette that just really don't translate over here. For example, if you break when you break your chopsticks, you're supposed to break them up and down, not side to side, to avoid from bumping into somebody on the sides of you, right? And it seems like common sense, but on the other hand, it's like it's not that big of a fucking deal. So you have these societal type of unwritten rules. When they're broken in Japan, it's like you actually broke a fucking law. But in America, it's like, you're supposed to cover your mouth when you sneeze. But if you don't, it's not like everyone's gonna shun you. I mean, they will for a few seconds, yeah. but like, no, they're gonna talk to you again. Like, you'll be able to still get married and have a good life afterwards. You're not gonna be written off. But in Japan, they have this mindset where they do not like to use any ideas or software or implement things into their games that was not come up with inside of that circle.
And to an extent, that's fair. It's, you don't want to use other people's ideas to fund your own. But
to a detriment, though?
And that, like, that's what I mean. It's like, it's one thing to be like, oh, well, we don't want to use that for our own personal gain. It's like, look, that's how you fix it. That's like Homeboy who fixed
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter's netcode. If he just like sent the email off, he's like, hey, there you go.
You ain't gotta hire him. Send him a bag. Here's 150K.
That's it. One time.
You saved us. You saved us the headache. Here's 150K.
You changed the 1 to 0, fixed the netcode problem, implemented and updated it to all of our games. Here's a bag.
We live in an age where failures of games get a second chance at life because you get to go back to the drawing board. Go ask Yoshida over at Square Enix if he didn't take the opinions and the suggestions of people from who played the original Final Fantasy XIV for the first expansion that basically turned it from the biggest failure in Square Enix's recent history to the greatest success in Square Enix's recent history, to have it be the number 2 and probably MMO in the world behind only World of Warcraft, and that's pretty good company to be in if you're talking about the best MMOs ever.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that mentality of you would rather suffer and look like an incompetent company than take help and extend an olive branch to somebody who loves your games, loves your company, and wants to help. And if you don't want it to come from the inside, hire him.
That way it's in the inside.
Fly his ass to Tokyo and fucking hire him. It's not that damn hard. Like, it fucking frustrates me. And this is what, like, I've been cool this whole time because I've been like reading facts and I've had to be articulate. Fuck articulate, bro. Like, this is Jason talking now. It pisses me off because we've already done an episode talking about how you need to realize that companies are companies, not your fucking friend, not your not your neighborhood buddy when you were growing up. They are companies. But that being said, it's easy to say that for Sony. It's easy to say that for Microsoft. It's really fucking hard to say that for Nintendo. Especially as an only child, where it's like, ever since I was old enough to even comprehend how important gaming was to me, I have owned every single Nintendo console and handheld. From GameCube all the way to Switch, had them all. From Game Boy Advance all the way to Switch, had them all. All of them.
All them.
All of them. And to think that the company that you knew as just being an amazing company that made amazing games, it's
as you got older.
Yeah, it's almost like when you get older and you have that one family member that's just always been cool to you and you just think they're cool, and then you grow up and you get old enough to be in grown folks' business and you realize that person wasn't as cool as you thought they were.
It was only cool to you when you was younger.
Exactly. You get to start smelling a little bit of that dirty laundry that's going on, and all of a sudden everything ain't sunshine and rainbows anymore. That's what it feels like with Nintendo. It feels like the company, the amazing company that made amazing games, is turning into the shitty company that makes amazing games and makes terrible decisions regarding said amazing games.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
And goddamn, it looks like they're becoming the villain, and I fucking hate it. I hate it because I can't sit here and tell you that I don't have a fond spot for Nintendo. I can't sit here with, I can pull out my Game Boy Advance, I can pull out my SP, I can pull out my Wii. I don't have my GameCube or my Wii U anymore. I can pull out my Switch. I can pull out, I can pull out the row of GameCube games. I can pull out the row of DS and Switch games and all of this, and I can show you how much money over the years that I have invested, and my parents have invested, and my family has invested into this company. And I understand that it is a company, but at the same time, like, goddamn, like, how can you
do this?
How can you do, like, how do you look at people who supported you when they were kids, who now have kids, support you as an adult, who then raise kids to love that same shit that they loved, and you just make these type of decisions? Like, I don't understand it. I cannot comprehend how that shit works. I literally can't. And it pisses me off because I don't see an end to it. I literally see it as if we talk about it all the time. All the goddamn time. What do I always say? when Nintendo is fucking up financially. When they're fucking up financially, they have no issue. They have no issue rolling out the big wigs, bowing, saying they're sorry, saying that no one's gonna get fired, no one's losing their job, everyone who's gonna feed their family will take the pay cut. We'll take the heat. We're gonna make everything better and earn your trust back. When they're doing bad financially, they have no problem doing that. But when they're succeeding, they act like their shit does not stink, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
The Smash community, and when I say the Smash community, the Ultimate community, the Melee community, the Brawl community, the Project M community, the 64 community, they all deserve better.
Smash deserves better.
All those people that got banned on Twitch for streaming Hyrule Warriors, even though they got it from the eShop because it went up in some places where it shouldn't have, deserve better. All those creators that got dropped from Nintendo's ambassador program for no reason deserve better.
Nintendo fans
deserve better.
Don't let Nintendo pimp you.
I have struggled with the idea of boycotting Nintendo, because there are a lot of people online that are talking about it, and it's one of those things, because when it comes to a corporation like Nintendo, talking with your wallet is honestly the only way it'll work, and it pains me to say that I don't think they got it in them. That when it came to the Pokemon community, I knew they were a lost cause.
Pokemon's gonna make that bag no matter what, because they say it every year, comes out with a new show, new game.
No. That's fine. Those are gonna make bank anyway. I'm talking about specifically the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They already got us. It's not for us. It's for the next generation.
Exactly. And we talked about it in the episode about Pokemon. We have power in our wallets, and even if we stopped buying it, all the kids that want it, their parents will still buy it.
Yep.
And for Smash, it's kind of the same way. They don't care about people boycotting the game from a competitive aspect, because the people that want the game from a family aspect are still going to buy it.
Yeah.
And all this being said, all this like revolt around the Smash Brothers community, it's sad to say it's November 24th and we heated. November 25th, if they drop a Smash Direct,
I'm gonna be up
and drop and they drop somebody like Gino or Sora or Dante, y'all gonna be right back at it.
Yeah.
Screaming, hooting, and hollering.
Upset my character didn't make the game.
You can't return the battle pass you already bought.
I can't.
Nintendo, as a lifelong fan, I am genuinely disappointed, disgusted, and absolutely floored by some of the decisions that you have made, not only in the last couple of days, but the last couple of years in general. I had a gut feeling that ever since the emulator situation of like when they remember Cool ROMs, when they absolutely took down like Cool ROMs and basically anywhere you could get ROMs online. When all that went to shit, I knew it was.
You knew something was
I knew it was game over from them.
Bro, I remember. It's funny, and it's funny because we were talking about it when that came out. Nintendo ROM's about to be its own form of currency.
Yeah, I do remember us having that conversation.
I told you I'd found an old flash drive that had DBZ Legacy of Goku. It had a Pokemon game and some Metroid games on there, and you just you might want to hold on to those copies because that might be some real money in the future.
I don't know, man. It feels bad.
And it's bad because there's nothing we can really do. We can shout from the rooftops. We can stop paying them. We can stop supporting it. But Nintendo is one of those companies that has their roots so deep. you can cut off one root, and there's still 7 roots that are gonna get that nourishment.
I will say this though. I'm so sorry. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he had a brilliant idea. He was going to run a tournament on Twitch on Slippy, knowing that Nintendo would try to take it down. But you know what the grand prize is? $10,000 to the charity of your donation.
Dang! And if you take away
my man's in the Twitch longer literally said that if they shut it down completely, it'll be a publicity nightmare. If Nintendo, it is a lose-lose for Nintendo, because if they don't shut it down, it'll show that it's not a big deal. And you're basically proving how much good the Melee community could do. They've already raised $100K for cancer. They've already done amazing things in the community. Regardless of how you feel about the game or the people, they've done amazing things.
Yeah.
If you shut down a tournament that could have turned into $10,000 for a charity, especially in a time of a fucking worst pandemic in a century, if that $10,000 could have went to fucking COVID relief, and you shut that down,
that's gonna look so bad.
And if you don't shut it down,
then you realize you were wrong.
And even if you don't, it'll make everybody else realize that you were bugging.
Straight bugging.
You got anything else to say on this one, man?
I can't wait till the next episode when we talk about something happier.
Yeah, next episode we're gonna do the Game Awards.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're gonna go through. We'll go through all the nominations, and we'll talk about our nominations, and then we'll nominate the people the games we feel should have been nominated, because a lot of the games that we played were not represented, but a lot of them were. But
yeah, dude.
It sucks that we had to use our 30th episode to
dog one of the biggest companies.
Have you ever seen
what? It is a dirty 30 though. We had to get down and dirty for this one.
Have you ever seen the movie Harlem Nights?
I feel like I have.
It's where the meme where the guy, where the guy's crying and he's holding the gun like this. Like
yeah.
That's how I feel anytime Nintendo does some fuck shit. It's like, I love you, but I have to call you out on your bullshit.
It always makes me feel the little white kid that's holding the gun on the beach. Where he's like, I gotta do it, and then like the next scene he's just crying because he did it.
Look, man, I'm gonna end the podcast off with this, man. I don't care what it is. If you stand up for something or fall for anything, if you feel like something is wrong, speak up and speak out. I don't care how insignificant you feel like your voice is. One voice is way more impactful than no voices.
Yeah.
The Smash community deserves better. The Melee community deserves better. The Ultimate community deserves better. 64,
fans.
Brawl, and Project M deserve better. The fans deserve better. The customers deserve better. And Nintendo, you are better than this. Fix your shit. Anyways.
Was that a Martin Luther King quote?
No, that was just me freestyling.
No, the stand for anything, fall for... No, it's like you stand for something and you fall for anything.
Maybe?
It's either a Martin Luther King quote, an Abraham Lincoln quote, or it's some other quote that they used in Transformers. Because I remember Optimus Prime saying that same thing. He's like, you'll either stand for something or fall for when Autobots roll.
Regardless, it is applicable to this situation. But that being said, this has been episode 30 of the In-Game Grind podcast. Thank you to everyone who's been checking us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and especially thank you to everyone that's been checking us out on YouTube. Noticing that as I'm trying to get better with the algorithm and trying to get more acquainted with the algorithm, I see a lot more of y'all are finding the podcast, and we hope you enjoy it. And if you do, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you head over to Spotify, Anchor, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a like, rate us 5 stars, get us up that algorithm, get us out to more people. We appreciate you all, but this is the end of this episode, and until the next one, see you guys later.
Take care. Peace.